On my dad's birthday, I flew home with fishing trip tickets he always talked about. He looked at the envelope like it was trash and said, "Trying to buy your way out of being a king stranger?" My uncle mocked me, my sister sighed, and my dad walked away saying, "You were dead to me long before you left." I didn't even knock, just pushed the screen door open like I used to when I was a teenager, hoping maybe that would soften the blow. It didn't. My name's Evan. I'm 37, and I hadn't been back to Clover Ridge, Pennsylvania in almost 8 years. Population, probably still under 2,000. My dad turned 60 that week. I showed up with a 6-pack of local craft beer, a cooler in the trunk, and 2 tickets for a chartered fishing trip on Lake Ontario. The kind of trip he always used to talk about when I was a kid but never got around to. The living room still smelled like burnt coffee and old firewood. Warren, my father, was on the recliner, ESPN blaring too loud like always. My Uncle Frank leaned against the kitchen doorway with a beer in one hand and a smirk already forming. Kara, my younger sister, sat stiff on the couch, arms crossed, eyes rolling the second I walked in. I didn't get a hey or a look who's back. Warren just grunted and squinted at me like I was a salesman interrupting his game. "Got something for you," I said, reaching into my jacket pocket. I handed him the envelope with the 2 tickets. "Remember that trip to Ontario you always talked about?" He opened the envelope, stared at the tickets for a few seconds, then set them down on the side table without a word. Then he looked at me. "What's the angle?" he asked. "No angle," I said. "Just thought you'd like it." He snorted. "You thought buying me a fishing trip would fix everything?" I bit the inside of my cheek. "It's a gift, Dad. That's it." Uncle Frank laughed into his beer. "Hell, Evan, last time you called, you were too busy saving the world in Portland. Now you're back with fishing tickets? What's next? Therapy coupons?" Kara leaned forward. "You always do this. Show up out of nowhere like the prodigal son, expecting applause." "It's not about you." "I didn't say it was." "But you think it is," she snapped. "You think you can just pop in, drop money on some grand gesture, and we'll forget the last decade." I reached into my duffel bag and pulled out the small wooden box. It was old, scratched, and faded, about the size of a cigar box. Inside were 2 fishing lures from when I was a kid, a keychain from a gas station upstate, and a photo of Dad and me when I was maybe 8, holding up a bass we caught together. I set it on the mantel. "Just wanted to remind you of better days," I said quietly. Dad glanced at it, then back at the TV. "You want forgiveness, Evan? Try honesty instead of bribes." I didn't say another word. I walked to the front door, didn't even look back when Uncle Frank muttered, "Guess that's that." Outside, the air was cold and dry. My breath hung in the air like a question I'd forgotten how to ask. I sat in the car for a minute before pulling out of the driveway. That wooden box was the only peace offering I had, and even that felt like it wasn't enough. Why the hell did I even bother? My motel room smelled like stale cigarettes and discount carpet cleaner. I'd barely managed 4 hours of sleep when my phone lit up at 3:14 a.m. with a string of missed calls from Liv, my cousin. The 6th one finally woke me up. I answered with a groggy, "Liv? What's going on?" Her voice was sharp with panic. "Evan, you need to get back to the house. Now." "What? Why?" "It's your dad. He locked himself in the garage. He's yelling. I don't know what he's doing, but he's flipping out about you and that damn box." I sat up straight, hard hammering. "What do you mean locked himself in? Like, what's he saying?" "He's been in there for almost an hour. He's shouting about betrayal and lies." "Evan." I tried to calm him down, but he won't listen to anyone. "He keeps saying you planted something to humiliate him. He's got the damn box with him. I think he smashed one of the old tackle boxes, too." I rubbed my face, trying to shake the fog out of my head. "He's ranting about the wooden box?" "Yes," Liv hissed. "Whatever was in it, he lost his mind over it. Said you were trying to shame him in front of the whole family. You need to come back, before he does something worse." I stood, already pulling on my jeans. "Has anyone else been over?" Kara showed up after I called her. "She's furious, Evan. Blames you for all of this. Frank's leaving you voicemails, too. He said you're trying to turn your dad against everyone." I grabbed my keys off the dresser. "What the hell?" Liv's voice cracked a little. "Please come back. He said if you don't show your face, he's going to get rid of everything. I don't know what that means, but he's not in his right mind." I drove in silence, headlights cutting through the fog on the back roads. My phone buzzed nonstop, voicemails from Frank, text from Kara. One of them just said, "Congratulations. You broke him." Another one followed 2 minutes later. "You just can't help it, can you? Always need to play the savior. You don't know what that box meant to him." I gripped the steering wheel tighter. That box didn't have anything damning in it. Just some mementos from years ago, a fishing photo, my mom's old fishing log, and a note I wrote last year when I was trying to forgive the man he used to be. But somehow, he had twisted it into something ugly, turned it into a weapon against himself. As I pulled into the driveway, I could see the garage light still glowing under the door. No yelling now, just silence. That kind of silence that makes your skin crawl. I didn't go inside. I sat in the car and stared at the house, wondering what kind of war I'd walked into. What did they think I put in that box? A confession? A trap? Maybe that was the point. They'd been building this wall for years, plank by bitter plank, and I just handed them a hammer and nails. But not this time. I didn't walk to the garage. I didn't knock on the door. I didn't try to explain myself to Frank or Kara or anyone else waiting behind that porch light, arms crossed and ready to pounce. Instead, I turned off the ignition and sat there, letting the cold seep in through the windows. I knew one thing for sure. If I went inside, I'd get dragged back into their mess. And I was tired of apologizing for things I hadn't even done. My phone buzzed again. Liv this time. Where are you? He's not saying anything now. Just sitting in there with the lights off. I texted back. I'm not coming in. He needs to cool down. So does everyone else. It took her 5 minutes to reply. He's your dad. I stared at that message for a long time. Then I put the phone down, leaned my head back against the seat, and closed my eyes. I wasn't caving in again. Not tonight. Not ever. I didn't sleep. Even after the text slowed and the call stopped, I just laid there in the dark with my eyes open, staring at the cracked ceiling tile above the bed. It was cold in the room, but I didn't bother reaching for the extra blanket. I just let the chill sink into my bones. Around 4 a.m., I started scrolling through old photos on my phone. Pictures of fishing trips from when I was a kid, Dad grinning in his flannel jacket, me holding a tiny perch like I just won a championship. I stopped at one photo I hadn't seen in a long time. Me, maybe 10 years old, squinting into the sun while Dad stood behind me with a hand on my shoulder. My mom was still alive back then. She'd taken the picture, probably with that old disposable Kodak she kept in the glove box. I stared at the photo so long my thumb went numb from holding the screen. We used to be a family, or maybe I used to think we were. By dawn, the motel's thin curtains let in a pale strip of light, and my phone buzzed again. Another text from Kara. Kara, nice touch with the fishing journal. Was that supposed to make him cry, or just feel like crap? I didn't answer. 5 minutes later, another one. Kara, you always have to dig up old stuff and act like it's for closure, but it's just about making everyone look bad. She had no idea what was in that box. None of them did. I pulled out the photo again and looked at it, then at the small, wrinkled page I'd folded and tucked inside it, the last entry from Mom's fishing journal. Her handwriting was soft and fading. Warren caught a bass today. Evan said it was the biggest fish in the world. Warren laughed so hard he dropped it back in the water. Still counts. That was the memory I tried to bring back. That was the version of my dad I thought might still exist somewhere. And then there was the other thing I'd included. A bank statement. Just one. Highlighted with the payments I'd been making on the family's mortgage for the last 4 years. Quiet, automatic transfers. Never talked about. Not once acknowledged. I never did it for thanks. I did it because the house would have gone under without it. And because I thought, maybe one day they'd look around and realize I wasn't the selfish one. But they didn't. They saw that box and twisted it. Turned a memory into a weapon. Turned help into guilt. Kara wasn't done either. Kara, he's been out in the garage all night. Frank thinks you want him to snap. Is that the goal now? Frank left a voicemail, too. I didn't bother listening to it. I could already hear his voice in my head. He's 60 now. Evan, not some kid you can lecture with your little notes. You don't pull that kind of stunt and walk away from it. I laughed out loud, not because it was funny, but because it was so damn predictable. They were all so quick to rewrite the story, turn me into the villain, the instigator. But I was done with the role they kept handing me. Sometime around noon, I sat on the edge of the bed and finally said it out loud. I'm not going back. The words felt strange in the air, heavy and final. For years, I've been their cushion, their excuse, their walking band-aid. Whenever something broke, whether it was the roof, the car, or our family's brittle sense of pride, I was the one who quietly fixed it. But now, I was tired. Tired of the guilt. Tired of paying bills in silence. Tired of leaving parts of myself in boxes, hoping someone would open one and finally understand. They didn't want peace. They wanted obedience. So I made a choice. No more payments. No more explanations. No more walking back into that house like I owed them something. I picked up my phone and opened the banking app. I paused for a long time, thumb hovering over the button. Then I did it. Canceled the mortgage autopay. Effective immediately. Let them figure it out. It wasn't revenge. It was freedom. The first crack came the next morning. I was sitting on the motel bed, flipping through TV channels I wasn't watching, when my phone lit up again, this time with a screenshot. It was from Liv. Liv, you've got to see this. Attached was a Facebook post from Uncle Frank, one of those grainy, blurry selfies taken from the driver's seat of his truck. The caption was long and full of that fake folksy charm he used when he wanted sympathy. Some people think money gives them power, think they can disrespect the folks who raised him and still sleep at night. Well, not in this town. We take care of our own. Some people forget what that means. And just like that, he'd started the fire. The comments came in fast. Neighbors, church friends, old classmates I barely remembered. What happened, Frank? Ugh, don't get me started on spoiled kids who think they're better than everyone. That generation's lost, man. No loyalty. I stared at the screen, not even angry, just tired. I should have seen it coming. Frank was doing what Frank always did, making himself the martyr, rallying the town with half-truths and just enough charm to make it believable. By noon, Kara had joined in. Not subtle, either. She posted a photo from 3 years ago, me, her, and our dad at the old diner, all of us smiling. Her caption read, "Hard to believe that family meant something back then, before pride and ego ruined it." I scrolled past it, then past another post, this one with screenshots from Zillow showing the family house with a foreclosure risk banner pasted across the top. The message was clear, blame Evan. By the afternoon, the messages started. Some of them were from people I hadn't spoken to in a decade. Former teachers. A couple guys I used to mow lawns with in high school. One was from the pastor of the church my mom used to attend before she passed. Heard things got tense back home. Just wanted to say we're praying for y'all. Sure you are. What they really wanted was a front row seat to the drama, to know if the stories were true, if the son who abandoned his father had really come back just to cause trouble. I didn't respond to any of them. Then Kara sent a message, short and sharp. Kara, you're really letting the house go? I replied, calm. Me, yes. Kara, do you even care what this does to Dad? Me, he never asked if I cared, just expected I'd pay for it. It took her a while, but she finally answered. Kara, wow, cold. I didn't reply. 5 minutes later, Frank left me a voicemail. I didn't listen to all of it, just the beginning. You always thought you were better than us. Just remember, blood's still thicker than whatever you think you're proving. Sure, Frank. Then, when I thought the wave of noise couldn't get any louder, Liv texted me. Liv, can I call you? I answered this one. Her voice was small, exhausted. Hey, just wanted to say, I don't blame you. I swallowed. Thanks. I tried to tell Kara that none of this was fair. She wouldn't hear it. Frank said I was picking sides. You are, I said. You're picking what's right. She was quiet for a second. I'm tired, Evan. Tired of being stuck in the middle. Tired of pretending they're not bleeding you dry. You don't have to pretend anymore. I moved out. She blurted suddenly. Last night, packed a bag and left. I'm staying at a friend's. Couldn't take the yelling. My throat tightened. I'm sorry. Don't be, she said. Honestly, watching you walk away gave me permission to finally do the same. It was the first time in weeks I felt understood, not pitted, not accused, just seen. Thanks for not making me feel crazy, I said. You're not crazy, she said. You're just the first one brave enough to stop pretending this family isn't broken. After we hung up, I stared out the motel window. The wind was picking up, clouds rolling in. Somewhere back home, they were probably still yelling, still calling me selfish, still hoping I'd come to my senses. But I wasn't coming back to fix it. Not this time. The call from the bank came 2 days later, early morning. I was half-dressed, holding a motel coffee that tasted like burnt cardboard, when my phone rang. Hi, this is Marie from Trick County Credit Union. I'm calling to confirm that your automatic mortgage payments have officially been canceled. Since your name is still listed on the deed, any future activity will require your signature for approval. I paused. So nothing moves without me? That's correct. I nodded slowly. Good. That's exactly what I wanted. When I hung up, I didn't feel relief. Not yet. But I felt something shift, like I had finally grabbed the steering wheel after years of riding shotgun in my own life. It didn't take long for Warren to find out. He didn't call, he texted. A string of messages that pinged in fast succession, like someone smashing a button in a panic. Warren, you cut the payments? What the hell are you doing? Warren, this is your family's house. You're sabotaging us. Warren, you don't get to hold this over me. Then came the voicemails. First angry, then desperate. You think this makes you a man? Walking away like this? You think it proves something? You're killing the one thing we all have left. Fix it, Evan. Be a son for once. I didn't answer. I didn't need to. By the time Kara showed up at the motel that afternoon, she was already seething. She didn't knock, just pounded on the door until I opened it. She stormed inside, still in her nursing scrubs, cheeks flushed, hair pulled back so tight it looked painful. What did you do? She barked. I didn't move. What do you mean? She shoved her phone in my face. Dad's beside himself. He's losing it, Evan. Frank's talking about selling the house. You have any idea what this means? I kept my voice level. I know exactly what it means. Kara's nostrils flared. You're punishing him. No, I said. I'm protecting myself. She scoffed. From what? From a man who raised you? From a house that gave you a roof for 18 years. I stepped aside and motioned toward the door. You don't have to be here. You chose to come. She didn't budge. You're being heartless. Maybe, I said. But I'm also done. She stepped forward. Too close. Her eyes were glassy now, trembling with more than just anger. You said you wanted peace, she snapped. You came back with that stupid fishing trip and that box like you wanted to heal something. I did. Then why are you blowing everything up? Because I finally realized healing doesn't mean pretending nothing ever happened. She went quiet for a beat. Then she did something I didn't expect. She slapped me. Not hard, not cinematic, but enough to sting. You destroyed everything, she whispered. I didn't say anything. I didn't flinch. I grew up in that house, she said, voice cracking. You don't just get to pull the plug. You grew up in it, I said. I paid for it. Kara blinked hard. You think that makes you better than us? No, but it means I don't owe you silence anymore. She stepped back like I'd hit her this time. So that's it. You want us to sell it? I looked her dead in the eye. I don't care what you do with it, but I won't be paying for it. And I sure as hell won't let you guilt me into pretending that's love. Her face twisted, but she didn't speak. Just stood there, breathing heavy, like all the air had been knocked out of her. Then she turned, grabbed the doorknob, and opened it halfway before stopping. You'll regret this, she muttered. No, I said quietly. I already regret not doing it sooner. And then she was gone. I sat back on the edge of the bed and stared at the motel floor. The carpet was fraying at the edges, and a cigarette burn near the mini-fridge looked like a scar someone had tried to forget. Outside, the sky was overcast, dull, and gray. The kind of weather that makes you think everything's on pause. But inside, something was finally moving. I wasn't the fixer anymore. Not the bank, not the scapegoat, not the invisible brother with the invisible wallet. For the first time, they had to live in the mess they made, and I was done cleaning it up. I sent the email around noon. No fanfare, just a subject line that read, next steps for the property, and a single attachment, PDF copies of the deed, the loan statements, and a formal notice that I would no longer participate in any financial activity related to the house. No emotion, no commentary, just facts. The body of the email said, effective immediately, I will not authorize any sale, refinance, or loan using my name or credit unless initiated by me. You may choose to buy me out or sell the house entirely. I will not be contributing financially moving forward. Please route all future communication regarding the property through a lawyer. Best, Evan. I stared at the screen for a moment, then hit send. For the first time in my life, I felt light. I knew it wouldn't last. It took 12 minutes. The group chat blew up first. Kara, are you kidding me? What the hell is this? Frank, you can't just walk away. This affects all of us. Warren, you want a war, son? Because this is how you start one. The voicemail came next. Warren, breathless, low and rasping like he'd smoked a pack in one sitting. This is what you wanted all along, isn't it? Burn it all down. I won't forget this, Evan. You hear me? I won't forget this. I didn't reply. I didn't open the messages. I turned off notifications and closed my laptop. An hour passed. Then 2. I sat by the motel window, watching the rain streak down the glass like it was erasing everything behind it. Around 4, Liv texted me. Liv, I left the house. That was all it said. I called her. She answered on the first ring. You okay? She sounded tired, but solid. Yeah, I couldn't do it anymore. The yelling, the blaming. Kara's been on the phone all morning calling everyone we know, trying to get people on her side. Frank stopped by and said I'd better rethink my loyalties. I packed a bag. Where are you now? At a friend's. Cassie, you remember her from high school? She's got a couch. I'm proud of you, I said. Liv let out a breath, like she'd been waiting to hear it. Thanks. We were both quiet for a moment. Then she added, you did the right thing, Evan, even if no one else says it. I don't need them to, I said. Not anymore. After we hung up, I sat with my phone in my lap, staring at the blank screen. The silence was loud, but it wasn't the anxious kind. It wasn't the kind that waited for the next shoe to drop. It was calm. I thought about the last decade of my life, about the times I sent money with no questions, about the birthdays I skipped because I was too busy working overtime to cover the mortgage, about the way Warren used to say, that's what family does. Anytime he needed something, in the way that never seemed to apply when I did. And I thought about that wooden box on the mantle. They thought it was a message of guilt, but really, it was a goodbye. Later that night, I opened a fresh email draft, typed slowly, deliberate, each word another brick in the wall I was finally building for myself. To all parties, the house is no longer my concern. If you wish to proceed with the sale, you may do so through proper legal channels. I will cooperate only with a licensed realtor and an attorney. I will not attend any family meetings. I will not be part of any further group discussions. I do not accept blame. I do not accept guilt. We are all adults. We can act like it. Evan, before I hit send, I added one more line. P.S. If you come to the motel, I won't answer the door. Then I clicked send. I stood up, stretched, and turned off the TV. The room was still and quiet. The world hadn't ended. They were losing control, and I was gaining peace. I had just started packing. Nothing dramatic, just folding shirts into my duffel bag, tossing out the last of the motel's stale coffee cups, wiping down the bathroom sink out of habit, when I heard the knock. Not frantic, not timid, just 2 heavy raps, like the kind someone makes when they know they're not leaving until you open. I waited a few seconds, then cracked the door. It was Kara. She stood there in a hoodie and jeans, soaked from the light rain, hair pulled back into a messy bun. No makeup, no performance, but her jaw was tight. Her arms were crossed, and her eyes were already locked on mine. Can I come in? She asked. I didn't say anything, just stepped aside and let her pass. She paced once, then turned and looked at me like she was rehearsing a speech she hadn't quite finished writing. You really sent that email. I really did, I said. She blinked. Even after everything. I zipped up the duffel and set it on the bed. Especially after everything. Kara stared at me. I could see it in her face. The weight of being the one who always stayed. The one who cleaned up after Warren's moods. The one who absorbed his bitterness like a sponge because someone had to. But this wasn't an apology coming. It was something else. You should have handled this differently, she said. You blindsided everyone. No one was listening when I tried to speak before, I said. So I stopped speaking and started acting. She looked at the floor. You could have just talked to me. I laughed once, short and tired. Like when I brought the fishing tickets and you accused me of making everything about myself? She flinched. I stepped closer, but not in anger, just so she'd look at me. You want to talk now? Fine, here it is. I spent years trying to do right by this family. Years quietly paying bills, flying home for emergencies, swallowing things that should have been called out. Because you left, she snapped. You walked away from us. And every time you come back, you act like we're the ones who failed you. I didn't walk away, I said. I escaped. Kara stiffened. I let the silence sit, then added, and every time I came back, I hoped something had changed. It didn't. She looked at the ceiling, eyes glassy. You know Dad's not handling this well. I know, I said. And he's not my responsibility. Her shoulders dropped, finally. He sent you one last message. I raised an eyebrow. Let me guess. Something about how I'll regret this. She nodded. More or less. He said, and I'm quoting, tell him if he walks away now, I'm done. No son of mine does this to his family. I exhaled slowly. Sounds about right. Kara looked at me like she was still waiting for something. A reaction. A crack, some signal that I might cave at the last minute. Instead, I walked to the window, looked out at the gray sky and slick parking lot, then turned back to her. You know what's funny? I said. He was right. I'm not his son anymore. Not the way he wants. I'm not the backup plan. I'm not the one who pays and shuts up. I'm just a guy who got tired of being treated like a problem. Kara's arms dropped to her sides. She looked suddenly smaller than I'd ever seen her. You really mean it? I nodded. I do. She stepped toward the door, paused. You know, he'll never change. Frank won't either. I'm not counting on it. And Mom would have hated all this. I smiled. Just a little. Maybe. Or maybe she'd finally understand. Kara didn't say goodbye. She just opened the door and left. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed one last time. It was a text from Liv. Liv, sent you something. Thought you'd appreciate the timing. Attached was a meme. A cartoon matchstick walking away from a burning bridge, sunglasses on, fire behind him. Caption. Sometimes, burning bridges lights the way. I smiled, threw my bag over my shoulder, and walked out of the motel without looking back. I didn't leave town with fanfare. No dramatic send-off. Just me, my truck, and the road ahead. As I pulled out onto the highway, I realized something simple and undeniable. I wasn't running anymore. I was finally free.